7 foods that turn toxic or harmful. When refrigerated, the hidden poison in your fridge, a chilling truth. Have you ever opened your refrigerator and felt safe? After all, it's the symbol of freshness, the place where we protect our food, our health, our families. But what if I told you that the same fridge you trust could be silently turning your food toxic? Yes, not spoiled, not stale, toxic. This isn't clickbait. It is a truth that very few people ever talk about, a truth hidden in plain sight inside nearly every American kitchen. And by the time this video ends, you'll never look at your refrigerator the same way again. Stay with me until the end, because the foods I am about to reveal aren't exotic or rare. They're the same ones sitting in your kitchen right now. Foods that millions of families refrigerate every single day, without realizing that cold air might be doing something far worse than keeping them fresh. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most shocking discovery. Number 1, potatoes, the silent sugar trap. For generations, we've been told that the refrigerator is the safest place for food. So it is natural that many of us tuck away our potatoes inside that bottom drawer, crisp, cold, protected. But what happens next is something most people never see coming. Inside that cold environment, the natural starches in the potato begin to transform. They don't stay stable. They start breaking down, turning into sugars far faster than they would at room temperature. To the naked eye, nothing seems different. The potato still looks firm, still feels normal, but chemically it's changing, quietly, invisibly. And when you later cook those potatoes, perhaps baking them, frying them, or making that golden plate of fries, something sinister happens. Those sugars react with amino acids in a process called the Maillard reaction. It gives potatoes that delicious brown color, but hidden within that browning is a dangerous byproduct: acrylamide, a chemical that scientists have linked to nerve damage and even increased cancer risk when consumed in high amounts. So yes, the same crispy fries that smell amazing could carry traces of a chemical that slowly harms your body. And here's the scariest part: you'd never even know it. Meet Bill, age 77. Every Sunday, Bill made homemade hash browns, golden, crispy, his weekend ritual. For years, he stored his potatoes in the fridge, thinking he was doing the right thing. But gradually, something changed. His potatoes started tasting strangely sweet, almost artificial. They browned unevenly. They burned too fast. It wasn't until he read an article on cold-stored potatoes that he realized his fridge was the culprit. When he switched to keeping them in a dark cabinet, cool, but not cold, the difference was night and day: better flavor, better texture, and peace of mind. So here's your simple rule: never refrigerate raw potatoes. Keep them in a paper bag or basket, away from sunlight, in a dark, dry cabinet. You'll protect their flavor and your health. And if you're still here, thank you. That tells me you care about what goes on inside your kitchen. If you're finding this valuable, take a second to subscribe and turn on the bell. Because we've only just begun, and the next food on our list might already be sitting in your fridge tonight. Number 2, onions, the mold magnet you didn't know about. There's something oddly satisfying about a freshly sliced onion, crisp, sharp, and full of flavor. But when onions are kept in the refrigerator, something very different happens behind those papery layers. Cold air inside the fridge is moist. And onions hate moisture. Their natural cell walls begin to break down, their texture softens, and within days, that sharp, zesty flavor is replaced by something dull, almost rotten. But that's not all. Those sugars that start seeping out under cold conditions create a perfect playground for mold. Tiny spores, invisible to the naked eye, begin spreading between the layers, feeding off the onion's natural moisture. Sometimes the onion looks fine from the outside, but when you cut it open, you find black or green mold hidden deep inside. Now imagine adding that to your soup or stir-fry. It's not just about taste anymore, it's about your health. Moldy onions can carry toxins that irritate your stomach or, in more serious cases, lead to foodborne illness. Take Patricia, age 81. She always wrapped her leftover onions in plastic and kept them in her fridge, thinking it was the best way to prevent waste. But one day, while chopping for her favorite stew, she noticed a strange musty smell. Something earthy, unpleasant. When she peeled another layer, she saw it, green mold spreading through the middle. That was the last time she stored onions cold. Now, she keeps them in a mesh bag in her pantry, just like her grandmother used to. And her soups? They taste fresher than ever. Here's a little-known fact. Onions actually stay fresher longer when kept dry, in the open air, especially red and yellow varieties. And if you've cut one in half, wrap it tightly, store it in an airtight container, and use it within 24 hours. But never, never, let it sit in your fridge for days. We're just scratching the surface. The next food on this list is one almost everyone keeps in the fridge, and yet scientists say it spoils faster when you do. You might even be throwing away good money without realizing it. We've already seen how something as simple as a potato or onion can change character in the cold. But now, we move to the foods that surprise almost everyone. These are the ones that seem safe in the refrigerator. But in reality, that cold air slowly drains their life, their taste, and their goodness. And the first on that list is one you probably use almost every day. Number 3. Garlic, the sprouting time bomb. There's something ancient, powerful, almost magical about garlic. For thousands of years, it has been used not only to flavor food, but also as a natural medicine, a protector of health, a warrior against infection. But the moment garlic steps inside your refrigerator, that magic begins to fade. Cold air doesn't preserve garlic. It awakens it. Inside the fridge, garlic thinks it's springtime and begins to sprout. You've probably seen it yourself, tiny green shoots pushing their way out from the cloves. To some, it looks harmless, even pretty, but inside, something else is happening. When garlic sprouts, the natural compounds that give it flavor and healing power start to break down. Its sharpness turns bitter. Its smooth texture becomes rubbery. And worse yet, the refrigerator's moisture seeps into the papery layers, creating the perfect environment for mold to grow unnoticed. Imagine slicing into what looks like a perfect clove, only to find faint blue or green patches inside, the quiet fingerprints of decay. For older adults, especially those with weaker immune systems, eating moldy or spoiled garlic can lead to stomach upset, nausea, or worse. Let's meet Samuel, age 75. He was known among his friends for his homemade pasta sauce. Rich, aromatic, unforgettable. Every week he'd take a bulb of garlic from the fridge, peel it, and crush it into his sauce. But over time, the taste began to change. The sauce grew bitter, harsh. He thought maybe he'd bought the wrong brand of tomatoes. Then one day, as he peeled a clove, he noticed something. Green sprouts, musty smell, spots of mold. That's when he realized his mistake. Now, Samuel keeps his garlic bulbs in a small basket on the counter, cool, dry, and open to the air. And his pasta sauce? It tastes like it used to, pure, vibrant, alive. So if you love garlic, as so many do, here's the golden rule. Keep it out of the fridge. Store it in a dry, ventilated spot. Let it breathe. Because when garlic breathes, it lives. And when it lives, it gives you its best. If you're learning something new and valuable so far, take just a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people who need to hear these hidden truths. And don't forget to subscribe if you love discovering the real science behind everyday foods. Your support keeps us creating this kind of content. Number 4. Bread, the comfort food that cold destroys warm toast in the morning. A soft sandwich at lunch. Bread, the universal comfort food. Yet here lies one of the most ironic truths in our kitchens. Almost every family at some point has made this same mistake, putting bread in the refrigerator to keep it fresh. But science says the refrigerator does the exact opposite. When bread is stored in the cold, its starch molecules undergo a process called retrogradation. This means that instead of staying soft and moist, the starches start to crystallize. And that once soft loaf quickly turns dry, stiff, and stale, sometimes overnight. And it doesn't stop there. Cold, moist air in the fridge can also trigger mold growth, especially if the bread is homemade or lacks preservatives. Think of Jean, age 84, a retired teacher from Illinois. She'd always refrigerate her bread after every grocery trip, thinking it was the smart way to save money and reduce waste. But she began noticing something strange. Her bread hardened within days, the texture turning grainy and lifeless. Worse, she sometimes found tiny patches of green mold hiding between slices, even though the expiry date was weeks away. One afternoon, while making her usual turkey sandwich, she caught that sour smell of mold before taking a bite. It was a wake-up call. Now John keeps her bread in a bread box on the counter, dry, cool, and away from direct sunlight. If she buys more than she can eat, she freezes it in small batches, defrosting only what she needs. Her sandwiches are soft again, her toast perfect, and no mold in sight. The takeaway? Refrigeration may seem logical, but for bread, it's a slow death sentence. Keep it at room temperature, or freeze it if needed, but do not let the cold steal its warmth, its texture, and its soul. And if you've ever been frustrated by bread that turns hard in a day, let us know in the comments below. Your story might help someone else save money, yes, and enjoy their next meal a little more, because the next food we're uncovering is one that's beloved across America. It's colorful, juicy, and filled with nutrients. But when you refrigerate it, it changes in ways that might shock you. Number 5, tomatoes, the flavor that the cold kills. There's nothing quite like a ripe tomato. Bright, sweet, juicy, the heart of salads, sauces, and sandwiches. But once a tomato goes into the refrigerator, that magic begins to disappear. Here's why. Tomatoes are living fruits. Even after being picked, they continue to breathe, ripen, and develop flavor. But cold temperatures shut down that process. They stop the ripening enzymes that create those sweet, tangy notes we love. As a result, refrigerated tomatoes don't just lose taste, they lose their soul. They become grainy, watery, and strangely flat in flavor. Even worse, the cold damages the delicate cell walls inside, so when you cut them, they don't slice cleanly. They leak water, turning salads soggy and sandwiches bland. Marilyn, age 79, knew this heartbreak well. Every summer, she grew her own tomatoes, red and full of sunshine. She loved their fragrance, their glow. But one summer, trying to make them last longer, she began refrigerating the extras. Within days, she noticed something was wrong. The tomatoes looked perfect, but when she bit into one, the taste was gone, replaced by something dull, lifeless. She'd unknowingly killed what made her tomatoes special. From that day on, Marilyn made a promise: never again. She keeps them on her counter now, away from direct sunlight, and enjoys them at their peak. Sweet, juicy, bursting with flavor. So here's the truth. Refrigeration doesn't just preserve tomatoes. It pauses their life. And when life stops, flavor fades. If you've ever wondered why your store-bought tomatoes taste nothing like the ones from a local farmer's market, this is why. Cold storage kills their essence before they ever reach your plate. Up next, we enter the final stretch, the last 2 foods on our list. One of them is so pure, it was once called liquid gold. The other is nature's sweetest gift, yet refrigeration can strip both of their health-giving powers. You won't believe what happens to them in the cold. Every hum of your refrigerator feels ordinary, almost comforting. But for certain foods, that cold hum is the sound of transformation, the quiet shift from healing to harmful. from vibrant to lifeless. We've already seen how the cold can ruin flavor, texture, and even create toxins. But now, we reach the final two foods, the ones most misunderstood, the ones that hold ancient secrets of nature itself. One is the world's oldest natural medicine, sweet, golden, and eternal. The other, nature's refreshing gift of summer, filled with sunlight and life. Yet when both meet the cold, something inside them changes forever. Let's begin with the first, a treasure that never truly spoils unless we force it to. Number 6, honey, the healer that the cold can silence. For centuries, honey has been called liquid gold. Egyptian tombs have been opened after 3,000 years, and archaeologists still found honey perfectly preserved, untouched by time. No mold, no decay, still edible. So why do we insist on putting this miracle in the refrigerator? Here's the truth few people realize. Cold doesn't preserve honey. It weakens it. At low temperatures, honey begins to crystallize. Those smooth golden waves slowly turn thick and grainy, making it almost impossible to pour or spread. It's not just about texture, it's about chemistry. Honey is alive, filled with natural enzymes, antioxidants, and antibacterial properties. These are the very compounds that make it a powerful remedy for sore throats, burns, and wounds. But refrigeration disrupts them. Repeated cycles of cooling and warming can destroy these delicate enzymes, leaving you with something that looks like honey but lacks its healing soul. Larry, age 82, learned this lesson the hard way. Every morning he'd stir a spoonful of honey into his oatmeal, a ritual he swore by for 20 years. He kept his jar in the fridge, thinking it was the safest place. But over time, the honey grew cloudy, hard, gritty. He'd scrape at it with a spoon, frustrated, until one day it slipped from his hand and shattered. That day, Larry decided to find out why. What he discovered changed everything. He learned that honey keeps itself safe, naturally. Its high sugar content and low moisture make it impossible for most bacteria to survive. He moved his next jar to a dry, dark shelf, and within a week, it returned to its smooth, golden state. So remember, honey doesn't need protection from time. It's already eternal. Keep it sealed, away from sunlight, at room temperature. The next time you open the jar, you'll find it just as nature intended, smooth, rich, and full of life. And if you're still watching this far, it means you are the kind of person who values truth over habit, the kind who looks deeper. If that's you, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because the next chapter, our final food, will surprise even the most careful among you. Number 7. Melons. When cold turns, sweetness. Sour. Melons. Watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. The taste of summer itself. Bright, juicy, cooling. We buy them, bring them home, and almost instinctively, we put them in the refrigerator. But here's the twist. If the melon is whole and uncut, the fridge is the worst place it can be. Cold temperatures slow down more than ripening. They alter the melon's chemistry. Studies show that melons stored at room temperature retain far more beta-carotene and vitamin C than those stored cold. These antioxidants are fragile, and once damaged by cold, they're gone for good. The result? A fruit that may look perfect, but has lost much of its nutritional power, and even its sweetness. Cold also breaks down the melon's cell walls, leaving the flesh mealy and watery instead of crisp and juicy. Frank, age 80, used to store every watermelon in his refrigerator the moment he got home. He loved the chill, the crunch, until one summer afternoon he noticed something strange. His slices tasted dull, almost flavorless. He thought it was the store, but the real culprit was the cold. When Frank began leaving whole melons on his counter, only chilling them after cutting, the flavor returned. Suddenly, that first bite was sweet again, refreshing, alive. It was as though summer had come back to life in his kitchen. So here's your rule. Keep whole melons at room temperature in a dry, shaded spot. Once cut, then refrigerate them in a sealed container and consume within 3 days. That's how you protect both their sweetness and their health benefits. Final thoughts. The cold truth about freshness. For decades, we've believed that refrigeration is safety, that cold means clean, that the hum of the fridge is the sound of food protected. But now we know better. Cold isn't always your friend. Sometimes it's the quiet thief that steals flavor, texture, and nutrients, even creating hidden dangers you can't taste or see. Think of the 7 we've explored: potatoes turning sugars into toxins, onions molding from within, garlic losing its healing bite, bread turning stale and hard, tomatoes freezing their flavor to death, honey crystallizing and dulling its power, melons losing the sunshine they once held inside. Each of these tells the same story, a story about trust, habit, and what happens when we stop questioning the ordinary. But the beauty is this: small changes can make a massive difference. Move your potatoes to a dark cabinet. Hang your onions in a mesh bag. Keep your garlic dry, your bread cozy, your tomatoes breathing, your honey sealed and room temperature, and your melons basking in open air. These aren't complicated acts, they're mindful ones. And mindfulness, even in the kitchen, is an act of self-care. Because every meal we make is not just food. It has a message to our bodies, to the people we love, to the life we're trying to protect. And the refrigerator, while one of humanity's greatest inventions, is not the guardian of all things. Sometimes it needs us to know when to say no. Music swells. Brighter now. So tonight, when you open your refrigerator door, pause for a moment. Listen to that hum and ask yourself, is everything inside really safer there? Or have you unknowingly hidden a few ticking time bombs behind that cold glow? The answer could change the way you see your kitchen forever. If you found this eye-opening, if you learned something new today, please click the like button. It tells YouTube that this message matters. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the hidden truths of everyday life, where science meets curiosity and knowledge meets action. Share this video with someone you care about. Because sometimes saving a loved one from harm begins not in a doctor's office, but in the kitchen. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the cold can preserve, but wisdom protects.